everyone, and welcome to Wire in the brand new FanDuel TV studios. For the first time, I'm Christina Blacker, joined by the Sarge, Nick Hines, on the show that is all about your stable. And if it's not your stable, it's one that you can be a part of. Sarge, we have just completed a very exciting Triple Crown, and we're rolling right into the summer months. Lots to look forward to.
Oh, absolutely. And with Wire to Wire being that quarterly show, we're at the midway point. I'd like to call it halftime, as we kind of reflect on the first half of the year, which has been successful, and I think in certain aspects has been tremendous, actually. But looking at the latter half of the year with these exciting young 2-year-old prospects and those sales acquisitions, I think there's a lot to look forward to here at MyRacehorse.
We will share that list with you a little bit later on in the show. We'll also talk about some of the experiences that are coming up that you can be a part of. But let's start with the winners, and let's celebrate some of the recent victories since we last saw you on our show a few months ago. We start with Straight No Chaser, a horse that I'm very familiar with. My husband Dan Blacker trains this runner. Big performance for him at Oaklawn. This was 2 starts back in April, and then off the heels of this, we're going to show you another replay coming on the Preakness undercard.
No doubt the coming out party for Straight No Chaser. He earned a career best 5 3/4 Ragozin speed figure, did Straight No Chaser. I think what fascinates me the most about this horse, and kudos to your husband who's done one hell of a training job, the fact that this horse has won over multiple services, 4 to be exact, over different racetracks, 2 different services. We go to the Maryland Sprint, and we were right there, smack dab in the middle, Christina.
This was pretty exciting to watch. Johnny V just letting him take a breather around the turn there, and then he really turned it on. A 107 Beyer speed figure, very fast final time of 108.27, a -3.5 on Thorograph, one of the fastest horses in the country that you're looking at here.
Yeah, new stakes record. How about Straight No Chaser? He put himself in the record books indeed with that performance, and Johnny V, tremendous work in the irons. I think the other point that I really look at here that impresses me, sans Lasix. No Lasix for Straight No Chaser. Coming off of that victory at Oaklawn, again, Team Blacker, not only Dan Blacker, but Christina, the entire staff there for Dan doing a wonderful job. And obviously, I believe Juan,
yes,
the exercise rider, yeah, so the assistant there, doing a great job with getting to relax. And they're, again, the partners, 950 plus, celebrating, and there's a few of them there.
We had a really fun morning just this last week where about 50 of the owners came to the barn. They brought breakfast for the team, which was very generous, and everybody got a chance to really get up close and personal with Straight No Chaser and get to see him and visit with him for a little bit. Unfortunately, there has been a very minor setback. He is going to have a little bit of time off, so we won't see him for a few months in action. All
right, we're going to touch on that in a moment, but let's keep running the tape for those horses that are coming off of victories. Indeed, Straight No Chaser, he'll be back better than ever, but moving on to, I believe we have
Classic Cut coming up next. Let's go to Indiana Grand. What a turnaround for this colt from start 1 to start 2 for Brad Cox. Big changes in that progression.
Big changes. Career start number 2. He earned a bust out to 84 Beyer speed figure. He's a son of Empire Maker out of that Go Sapper mare in blue jeans. And credit going out to Brad Cox. He's a bit green as this horse is able to dictate terms. He was on that opposite lead, but so game in victory for Classic Cut. And, you know, again, he was a fairly expensive purchase as a youngster. And the question was off that debut run, what is he? Certainly stepped onto the turf course, took his game to another level. He was re-entered back. The race was washed off the turf, but he'll be back in coming weeks. I'm very excited to see this 3-year-old develop, much like with Straight No Chaser, who didn't start until he was 3. Certainly the patience paying it forward.
Yeah, you got to give them that time, and they will give you their best. Let's take a look at another winner. This one, Cumberland Falls for Kent Sweezy at Monmouth. 2 starts back, a very nice victory over a wet, fast surface.
Yes, indeed. Kent Sweezy, another trainer who's been very good for the MyRacehorse program. And again, he may not be a household name, but his win percentage speaks for itself with horses trained for MyRacehorse. And Cumberland Falls did break through in career start number 5 under Jose Gomez, earned a 72 Beyer speed rating. Career start number 5, a winning one. Came back to run subsequently, bounced, I thought, there at Belmont. But Cumberland Falls, a daughter of Tappert of the Distorted Humor mare, Moonbow, and MyRacehorse and the Starry Night Racing. Congratulations.
Congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to the owners of Vow, who was a winner last time out. And this is a horse that's always been very consistent, has picked up a check almost every time she takes her race over to the track in the afternoon. She put it together in a big way with this 9-length score at Indy.
A stylish win here, and Val, daughter of Union Rags as a 4-year-old. You know, she began her career at Churchill in 2021, had a few setbacks along the way, You talk about consistency. She's had 6 career starts. She's had 2 wins, a second, a third, 2 fourths. Essentially picked up a check each and every time. Steve and his team doing a great job. This could be a sign of better things to come. She earned a career best Buyer speed figure of a 79. Has a right to continue to improve and may essentially want more real estate as she develops. And I like the fact that we haven't given up hope in Val. She did dip in for the maiden $75,000 tag, but she wins at the maiden special weight, and that's a very good sign for a filly by Union Rags.
Could be a real light bulb type performance for her. So looking forward to what's next with her. Let's circle back one more time to Straight No Chaser. So again, a minor setback. He is going to have about 90 days off, and we'll look forward to starting things up again on down the line towards the end of the year. Yeah,
again, it's unfortunate that he encountered a setback, and obviously recently there was plenty of interest off of that essentially that breakthrough victory that we saw in Maryland, as you alluded to. Top sprinter in the country, perhaps even globally, would have been a horse front row center on Breeders' Cup Saturday. So essentially an exam went forth, as you well know, as Dan had alluded to. X-rayed perfectly clean. Unfortunately, on PET scan, there was a very, very minimal light up on, I believe it was his sesamoid. Nothing significant. X-rays revealed nothing, and essentially 90 days would be required. So what they do with a PET scan, they inject a certain dye into them. It's kind of similar to what you do with a nuclear scintigraphy, but the body will essentially light up to the hot spot. Good news, we err on the side of caution.
Yes.
There is no bad news. Obviously, we're not going to be running the Breeders' Cup this year in 2023, but we're going to have a sprinter that comes back. It's going to be loaded for bear.
It's a remarkable piece of technology, that PET scan machine, and Santa Anita, one of the only racetracks in the country that has one. He's not in any kind of discomfort. He's just going to take that time off. And you mentioned globally, maybe there are some global races in the future. We'll look forward to that and to the return of Straight No Chaser. Let's circle back and talk about the Triple Crown. So since we last saw you, we've seen the Kentucky Derby winner in Mage. We've seen the Preakness winner at National Treasure, and really the story of the year in horse racing thus far, with Jenna Antonucci becoming the first female trainer to win an American Classic for 3-year-olds. Here's a look back at that Belmont Stakes victory. And Sarge, we can all agree, and I think this has been so unifying for the sport, just how happy we were to see this performance and to see this team successful on a big day.
If you didn't have a tear in your eye watching the post-race interviews and, of course, the inflections brought to you by Jenna Antonucci and her team, then you might want to check your pulse. This was a storybook ending to a Triple Crown that, unfortunately, we didn't have that Triple Crown chance, knowing that Mage did not win the Preakness coming off that Derby victory. And as much as we got emotional about Mage with Gustavo Delgado, Jenna Antonucci, this, of course, was a moment for her and a moment in time. The first female trainer to have ever won the Belmont Stakes in its storied history. And of the 3 races, of course, a race that dates way back in the most. So for me, great for the game, and essentially a horse that we love the sire, by the way.
We do. We love the sire. We celebrate Jenna Antonucci. We celebrate Josie Carroll, the first female trainer to win the Queen's Plate. She has a few MyRacehorse horses. We think back to Julie Crone.
Absolutely.
We think back to Janine Sahadi. We're just really enjoying that moment for her team and how well she has represented thoroughbred racing from all of us. Thank you for all of her post-race comments, all the interviews that she's done. That really has been an uplifting story for us. Speaking of the sire of Arcangela, as you mentioned, there is definitely a tie-in. Seize the Gray, one of the new young horses for MyRacehorse that we are looking forward to as he continues his development. He's with the coach, Dwayne Lucas, and here's a look at his breeze back on the 25th of May. He's on the outside of this group of workers here, and he's going to end up clocking that 3 furlongs in 35.20.
Yes, in my conversations with racing manager Joe Moran, my good friend, also the manager of Edge Racing, his talks have been quite positive. And this son of Arrogate, the $300,000 Phasig Select purchase last year. He's just a 2-year-old out of that mare Smart Shopping. And when you look at the pedigree page, a lot to like. Shop again, of course, a grade 1 winner under that second dam. I think the contention runs awfully deep here with a horse who's an April 20th foal. He's done everything right up until this point. And the hope is perhaps to get into a race here toward the end of June, maybe one prep prior to Saratoga. So straightforward.
It's right around the corner.
Oh, it's amazing. And when you consider the fact that Arrogate, God rest his soul, I mean, he left us far too soon because his class, this is his freshman class you see with your Belmont winner, but his 2-year-olds of this year have sold for the highest amount of money. It's kind of like the what they call the dead rock star syndrome,
right.
Much like we saw with Straight No Chaser. Speightster. He left us just prior to that point in which we had purchased Straight No Chaser. So sees the gray. I'm excited. How can you not? He's aptly named. He's a gorgeous individual, and he's trained by a legend.
Talking about the 2-year-olds here, I'm not sure if we were able to fit this all on one graphic or not, because I was blown away when I took a look at this list last night preparing for the show. The 2-year-olds for MyRacehorse. And now some of these horses are already at the track. Some of them are still at various training centers getting ready. You're going to see some of them, as Nick alluded to, in the next couple of weeks. We saw a 2-year-old runner yesterday, in fact, and then some of them maybe later through the summer and into the fall. Any highlights for you? Any horses you're really looking forward to?
Oh, this was one of the most difficult assignments that I think I've had in a while. But, you know, for me in particular, by the way, Lady Blitz, a troubled effort at Monmouth Park yesterday. Be sure to line up at the window telling our stage managers, have your TVG accounts ready. She is a good bet next time. I think you get better than 3 to 5. Trouble trip. For me, it's got to be Seismic Beauty in a partnership with Peter Lydell. She was purchased at Keeneland September last year. Been breezing consistently for Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert, currently at Los Alamitos, where she is stationed with his longtime assistant, Mike Marlowe. And Seismic Beauty is certainly a horse that I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, she was an expensive yearling purchase last year at Keeneland September. As you can see, there's so much great representation on this list. And again, Violence, Candy Ride, Gun Runner, Arrogate. You've got pretty much the perfect situation here as far as representation of high-end stallions, deep pedigrees, lots to like in a bright futures.
We did have to take 2 pages for that graphic. Let's take a look at Seismic Beauty, because that's the spotlight horse that Nick's been talking about a little bit over the last couple of moments. I want you to have the chance to see her. So here she is. She is in training with Bob Baffert. She's a daughter of Uncle Mo, and she is in Southern California starting to prep down at Los Alamitos.
Yeah, I got a little ahead of myself. I didn't realize how deep and interesting and exciting that list is, but Seismic Beauty, they essentially took out the beauty aspect of it because she is a seismic individual. But we'll leave the graphic as such, a 49-3, just kind of a maintenance drill worked outside of a $700,000 2-year-old in training purchase earlier this year by Bolt de Oro. A bit keen breaking off down the backstretch, but settled into rhythm. Daughter of Uncle Mo showed off her stride in the latter end of that workout. I know Mike Marlowe, he's been very pleased as to her action and also her mental aptitude. We loved her last year. She was purchased out of the Glen Hill Farm consignment. $650,000 well spent. Baffert also had the likes of Dream Tree, also a 2-year-old by Uncle Mo. So Seismic Beauty, one small step, hopefully one giant leap at Del Mar, Christina.
She is going to be exciting to watch. Big, beautiful, kind of scopy stride to her, meaning she'll cover quite a lot of ground with each and every jump, and definitely distance will be her friend as we continue on with that daughter of Uncle Mo. As far as the 2-year-olds go, I'm going to take a look at the filly that is out of Lovesick, born in the year of 2021. She's not named just yet because we actually have a naming contest going on right now. So I'm looking forward to what she will eventually be named. She's a daughter of Liam's Map and has just recently shipped in to Monmouth Park this week to join Todd Pletcher's stable. Now remember, he trained Liam's Map, and you're seeing a lot of versatility in his offspring, whether they end up competing on the main track, if they're on the turf course. Looking forward to her and also to hearing what the final name is with this filly, the daughter of Lovesick by Liam's Map.
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder on that one, Christina.
You like her too?
I like her. Are you kidding me? I love her. I mean, she was way at the top of my list in our huddle-ups at OBS at April. And, you know, I don't think there was much arm wrestling around between Roderick Walkman, our, global acquisitions manager, of course, Joe Moran and myself, and of course, our CEO, Michael Behrens. The huddle-ups at OBS this year were tremendous. But we all came to agreement. She's a doll. She's now stationed up with Todd Pletcher. And I just hope they come up with a great name, because with Liam's Map, Lovesick, got to come up with a good one.
Definitely excited to see Lovesick and all of the other 2-year-olds as they are preparing for their debuts, whether that be this summer, maybe later on into the fall, maybe into their 3-year-old season. As we touched on, horses like Straight No Chaser, some of them take their time. And Sarge, I think it's really important that we treat them all as individuals. And Guinevere would be a real example of that, in that the expectations for this filly have developed along with her progress.
No, they certainly have. I mean, she being trained by Wesley Ward when she was purchased last year at Keeneland September, we were all on the same page that she was of Royal Ascot caliber. You know, unfortunately with her, it hasn't been anything dramatic as far as the physical physical soundness standpoint of things, but from a physiological and just kind of a growth pattern, if you will, it had been a little bit of a stop and start, much like we saw with Justify himself. He didn't start until he was a 3-year-old, so she's gone through kind of the growing pains, as we like to call it, if you will, in kind of a step process. I mean, if you took before and after photos of her from being a yearling until now, you wouldn't recognize her. She's bigger, better, stronger, and Wesley Ward's still bullish on her talent. But I'm confident, we're confident at MyRacehorse, but our theme, be patient with these horses because they'll reward you in the long run. So although Royal Ascot didn't come to fruition, guess what, Christina? There's always next year.
There's always next year. That patience will definitely pay off, as we've discussed so many times on the show over the last couple of years. We also wanted to take an opportunity to announce an exciting new partnership between First Racing and MyRacehorse. Now, First Racing is the parent company of Belinda Stronach. They own racetracks like Santa Anita, like Golden Gate Fields, like Pimlico, the tracks that many of your horses are competing at. And they, along with a group of other investors, have come together to really take MyRacehorse to the next level. We're talking about the technology here and the framework that it takes to build and to grow and to scale with the business, really, because we have about 50,000 active owners right now, 100 active horses in training, and as the stable grows, everything else needs to grow behind the scenes to support that.
No, absolutely. And I think not only from a point of, trying to go out to acquisition horses and getting them in the right places, but accommodating the owners. I mean, obviously, this whole product was predicated on the ownership experience, the experiential aspect of it. And it certainly has come to a point, I think, in the game, much like this show today. I mean, we're kind of at the halfway point, still a relatively young process, but if you mentioned 50,000 plus individuals, but with First Bet, they're going to give us the opportunity to do kind of a 5.0, if you will, take it to the next level, make sure that those racetrack experiences are one that you'll forever remember. And of course, with our horses, putting them first and foremost, that's the bottom line, to make sure these horses are being well taken care of, and even when they're done racing, going on to happy life after.
That really is a common mission from First Racing through MyRacehorse. You see them very aligned in theology with these two companies as we move forward. Another announcement and another kind of horse to check in on, and actually the horse that enabled us to launch to this next point and to take all those big steps, was Authentic. He had quite a year as a sire in that his weanlings were selling last year. Some of his first yearlings are selling this summer, and as we look forward to that, we check in with the folks at Spendthrift for an update on Authentic at stud.
We're now in Authentic's 3rd year at stud. He's settled in here at the farm beautifully. He's really matured physically. It really took him a little longer than some stallions. He's always been a little bit of a lighter, racier type of horse, but now he is really fully let down, looks like a mature breeding stallion, and is really very aesthetically appealing now, more so than that tucked up, lean athlete. He makes a great picture up there on our show ring. He really handles his job beautifully. Just like Into Mischief and much of that sire line, he is a natural in the breeding shed. He's able to handle a substantial book of mares. He has a great libido. He has very good fertility. He handles all of this really well and has just taken everything in stride.
Thanks very much to Ned Toffee for the update there from Spendthrift Farm on Authentic. And Sarge, I know you've seen a lot of these weanlings and yearlings. What are you seeing?
Well, I think record speaks for itself, knowing that he was a #1 freshman sire as far as purchase, a $242,000 average, 13 weanlings sold. But as we transition into phasing July, I think we're going to get a better idea. Kind of reminiscent of what we saw with Omaha Beach, essentially. His weanlings sold well, his yearlings did extremely well, and of course his 2-year-olds are now performing. But being a son of Into Mischief, I think the world is his oyster. And Authentic, of course, he's the franchise quarterback for MyRacehorse, putting him on the map. And again, a big thank you to our partners there in Spendthrift, and of course, the late, great Wayne Hughes. This opportunity never would have presented itself if it hadn't been for him. And now we're off and running. And Authentic starts with the letter A.
He does indeed, so looking forward to that. You mentioned Omaha Beach. He has a 2-year-old running at Royal Ascot this next week for Tom Morley, another MyRacehorse trainer. But speaking of 2-year-olds and horses that we're looking forward to in international racing, that's where I'm going to go for my stable spotlights. And I'm looking to my Belle Artiste. She was a winner in Ireland at Killarney not long ago, May the 16th, and she earned a very high 90 rating overseas for this. This is a filly that has been very consistent overall. She is conditioned by Joseph O'Brien there. And in partnership with MyRacehorse and Philip Antonacci, we're really looking forward to what she can do in the coming weeks, because she is pointing to the Sandringham at Royal Ascot. That is on the Friday of the meeting. Ascot starts on Tuesday. They run Tuesday through Saturday, and we're looking forward to seeing her there. 30 owners plus, I'm told, have already signed up to make the trip and to enjoy.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. This is
Best
what
of
it's
the
all
best,
about.
right?
I wish I could just sport a top hat and get there. I'm not sure my fedora would qualify, but notice I kind of put on the summer gear today. Yeah, I'm going to be there, though, next year. I'm going to call it the trip. I know you're going to be there, and it's an exciting time indeed. But, Christina, for me, I'm excited about Classic Cut. I think all things considered, when you look at his pedigree, kind of had the design of a horse that, yeah, he could win early, but he was only going to get better with like fine wine, if you would, as he got older. But we take a look at him here, a stall shot, certainly a class individual. He wasn't cheap by any stretch, perched for $240,000 as a Phasig Select. He has developed nicely and debuted. It was disappointing, had trouble that day, but once he stretched out in the lawn, he was still a bit green as the grass he was winning on, but earning that 84 Beyer speed figure. Look, we're all excited about Classic Cut. Trainer Brad Cox doing an outstanding job. Continue to let him develop. Let's focus on turf.
2-year-old spotlights, stable spotlights. I feel like we're just continuing to look to the horizon here, and also looking forward to some of the experiences that are coming your way this summer. Let's just go ahead and roll through some of these pictures and through the website as well, because the experiences setting up this summer, you are definitely going to want to be a part of them. A few at Del Mar, including opening weekend and the Pacific Classic Day, Saratoga for Whitney Day, a visit to Sugar Plum Farm out there, the Hall of Fame. That is an experience like no other. I've been there for the Hall of Fame experience, where they give you that sort of surround sound.
Right.
And you're going to hear all these voices that you know and love. Dwayne Lucas, one of the MyRacehorse trainers, part of that video. And then to Woodbine as well. So some international experiences in addition to Royal Ascot next week.
I mean, if you haven't been to Woodbine, now's no better time.
That is one of my bucket list tracks.
I've been there multiple times. I've been there in the dead of winter, but in the summertime, it is absolutely enjoyable. People there are number one. Josie Carroll, you mentioned her, the job that she had done with Duke of Love. And it just, the people are just so, again, they're welcoming there north of the border at Woodbine. So take advantage of these events. I know I'm going to be at Del Mar. I know I'll be at Saratoga. I know I'll see you at Del Mar. I hope to see you at Saratoga and Del Mar,
and
right?
Woodbine. Let's just do it all.
I won't
Start
make Royal
booking those
Ascot
plane
this year.
tickets.
Right.
I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow for that one. The lounges are a great place to land too. Even if you kind of make these trips in the last minute, there's always availability at those MyRacehorse lounges. If those are one of the fixtures at the summer tracks, it's a fixture at Del Mar, a fixture at Gulfstream Park. So definitely take advantage. Make sure that you are online and that you are checking the app for some of these offers that are coming your way. And Lexington too. Don't forget about a few Lexington experiences this summer if you're going to be in horse country.
Yeah, no doubt. Weekend visits 3 farms, including but not limited to Gainesway, of course, the House of Tappet, Spendthrift, Into Mischief, Authentic, Lanes End, Flightline, Three Chimneys, Gunrunner, and TaylorMade. Not this time. That, my friends, is another experience that you may want to sign up for yesterday.
Going to the sale is always fun. I know that you'll be very busy if folks are there at the sale. You guys are going to be moving and shaking, but it's definitely one of those that you can take in just as a fan too and kind of enjoy the sales experience.
Yeah, the sales experience, great. It's young to see these horses. It's nice to see these young horses at this stage of the game. As yearlings, they've never had a saddle on their back. And, it's the process, right? A little bit more of a crystal ball. But, if you're out and about, during Keeneland or say even Saratoga or Phasig October and one of our representatives are there, feel free to reach out. Perhaps we can get you accommodated and enjoy that process as it is seen there.
Let's wrap up the show with our Aftercare Spotlight. We've definitely had the opportunity to check in on a lot of these horses over the last couple of years.
I want to hold you up there for a minute, Christina. I mean, what about this Del Mar Saratoga thing? I mean, are you, what side of the street are you on?
I thought I was going to get away without this fight.
Nope.
I don't know. I like them both. Can both be true?
Wow.
Can they both be good? I mean, I'm a California girl, so I have to say Del Mar, but I appreciate the racing at Saratoga. I appreciate the horsemen at Saratoga in such a big way. I personally have a hard time with that humidity. I have a hard time enjoying myself when I'm boiling.
Right.
So that ocean breeze definitely makes the experience a little bit better for me, but a day of nice weather and stellar racing at Saratoga is tough to beat.
I think you're spot
I'll
on
admit
there.
that.
But, again, I didn't mean to hold you up there. But the truth is, I mean, they talk about these debates, right? Is it Tupac West Coast? Is it Biggie Smalls East Coast? For me, I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I'm more of a centrist in that regard. And we always try to be politically correct because we want to say the right thing, do the right thing. The nostalgia, the pageantry of Saratoga, I think, trumps what we see at Del Mar. But in regards to Del Mar, it's all about the spectacle. I know one thing, I've never had a losing day at Del Mar, because when that sun sets on the Pacific, and I have one of those Del Margaritas, it's all good.
If I can end up on the beach, I'm happy no matter what's happened through the day.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw.
But they rival, right? I mean, we talk about back in the day, War Admiral, Seabiscuit, Sunday Silence, Easy Goer, Rachel Alexandra, Zenyatta.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, it's kind of that East Coast thing, East Coast, West Coast. But, hey, I'm looking forward to both of them. I hope I can get back to Saratoga this summer.
We hope that you all have the opportunity to make it to one, hopefully to both, and certainly to take advantage of some of those experiences. Okay, Aftercare Spotlight. Right. Let's wrap it up with the Aftercare Spotlight this month. And I've had the chance actually to visit Silver Springs, was out there talking to Kevin Noltemeyer not long ago, and one of his assistants, Joey, has gone ahead and adopted one of the former MyRacehorse runners.
Yeah, Joey's a great guy. The entire staff there at Silver Springs, they do a great job. And of course, Silver Springs was kind of a vein of what Spencer was trying to accomplish. Wayne Hughes, my good friend Matt Bowling, Kevin Noltemeyer teamed up. But Star 6'9", this horse unfortunately encountered what we call wobbler syndrome, and it's compression of the spine and gives a bit of a neurological feeling to a horse, to whereas you can't ride them, much less trying to race. So in this stage, there are surgeries and certain things that can be done to try and make the horse better. But at the end of the day, we all deem that the best road of safety for the horse and for those around him would be to not go on as a racehorse. So Star 69, a big 6'9" rather, and in a partnership there with Joey at Silver Springs has worked out to be a wonderful thing. He won't be a riding horse, but you know what? He's like obviously having a horse around that just kind of wants to hang out. He's like having a puppy, right? Big puppy.
Big member of the family out there. So big thanks to Joey and to the entire team at Silver Springs. They're such an integral part of these horses as they begin their careers very early on in the days in Kentucky, leading into the stables and getting them ready to compete. I am going to produce from the set and add one more note before we go. There's a brand new member of the MyRacehorse family as of yesterday.
Really?
Shona Rotundo, giving birth to her second daughter, Sienna Luck Rotundo. The second Rotundo sister is now here, and with that kind of a middle name, Luck, she's, I'm sure, going to bring some luck to the stable.
I absolutely love that. I love that. It's just, congratulations to Team Rotundo, and I'm excited to see the newbie. Now they went from a zone to a man-to-man, if you will. Or it's going to be interesting. Things are going to get intense over there, but in any event, congratulations to Shona, of course, an integral part, and Mr. Rotundo as well. They've done so much for us here at MyRacehorse. But Christina, I think a part of the theme of this show has been the setback for the setup, as we've seen with MyRacehorse and, of course, Straight No Chaser. Folks, have faith. He's got the talent. I know your husband, who's done a tremendous job. And, of course, little kudos going out to Andrew Lerner, because initially that horse, a 2-year-old, had a knee issue, which never came back to haunt him. This, obviously, this little incidental finding is something that we'll look back and say, you know what? There's a blessing in there somewhere. And the last thing I want to tell you is happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Sarge and I share the same birthday coming up in a couple of days.
It's all here. It's
That'll
June.
do it for us here on Wire to Wire. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed the entire Triple Crown season. Good luck through the summer at both Del Mar and Saratoga. We'll see you back in September to recap, hopefully, many more winners. We'll see you next time.